Dr. Bruce H. Price. He's a co-founder and co-director of the Massachusetts General Hospital Center for Law, Brain, and Behavior. And he was also a lifelong friend of Dr. George Tiller, a courageous abortion provider who was assassinated in 2019. So give it up for Dr. Bruce Price.
So I remember George Tiller as my older next door neighbor growing up in Wichita, Kansas. And I remember the rage I felt when I heard that he was assassinated on May the 31st, 2009. He was in his church. He was an usher in the foyer. His wife was singing in the choir. He was wearing his usual body armor. And this converted to Christianity, army of God, anti-abortion fanatic went into the foyer, shot him point blank in the head. Dr. George Tiller had died. In 2013, 4 years after his murder, his clinic manager, Julie Burkhart, reopened the clinic and in George's honor named it Trust Women. And George meant that, trust women. They had the right. They had the intuition to control their own reproductive freedom. In 2016, inspired by George's life, I joined the board of directors of Trust Women. And I'm proud to say that as of last year, we have clinics in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Wichita, Kansas. And between the two, we performed 3,600 abortions and saved the lives of 3,600 women. And I'm also happy to say that in the Wichita clinic alone, given increased staffing, given some more renovations, we plan to offer abortions just this year to 5,000 women. 5,000 women. And because of the intimidation of physicians in Kansas, it turns out I'm the only physician on the board of directors at Trust Women. And I get that. And thank you, but we need more. We need more, we need more. And I'm also deeply pleased to report that both clinics offer full reproductive rights to the LGBTQ community. So we think we are in the right spot in history. George held the profound belief that a woman had every right to determine their own reproductive freedom. He felt obliged to protect their rights and carry out their decisions with compassion and understanding, even though he knew that he might be murdered. Even though he knew that he might be murdered. He often said, intimidation makes me stronger. Intimidation makes me stronger. If he were alive today, I believe that in body and spirit, he would join us in the streets, these streets, to resist and defeat the current assault on women, to demonstrate in word and deed that every woman and every girl should have a future as full and equal human beings, and that indeed forced motherhood is female enslavement. So I was in medical school in 1973 when the Roe v. Wade decision came down from the Supreme Court in a 7-2 vote, by the way. Remember that, a 7-2 vote, January 1973, and simply legalized abortion. I remember that the elation that almost every one of us felt, that no woman had to undergo an illegal abortion anymore, that no doctor had to deny a woman, a safe abortion. Older physicians, no doubt in this city, probably at Bellevue, remembered the days of failed back alley abortions and of young women who filled the medical and hospital wards, many who died from bloodstream infections or hemorrhages. There was a collective sigh of relief. Thank goodness, we said, never again. Thank goodness, we said, never again. And if you want a nightmare, imagine this country post Roe v. Wade. Imagine that, a nightmare, a nightmare, a nightmare. We thought we had it clenched, and here we are. In 1975, George realized that he could reduce the $1,000 hospital charge to $250 to all women if he formed his own private clinic, which he did, and called it, in Wichita, called it the Women's Health Center. He was acutely aware that poor and minority women were disproportionately affected by the lack of abortion access. He gained a national reputation for performing elective abortions through the second trimester, and he would perform them beyond that if the fetus had a severe abnormality or the mother's emotional or physical health was at stake. He said that there would always be a need for late abortion. Nature makes mistakes. In 1986, a bomb caused $100,000 damage to the clinic. 3 days later, Tiller put up a sign amid all the debris proclaiming, "Hell no, we won't go." People that have been around know that phrase in the anti-war Vietnam protest movement. "Hell no, we won't go. We're here to stay," he said. In June of 1991, the anti-abortion group Operation Rescue converged on Wichita and for 46 days attempted to blockade young women from going to his clinic. In August of 1992, after 4 protesters chained themselves to the clinic gates, he stormed out of the clinic, still dressed in his doctor's coat, walked to the gate, grabbed a microphone from a stunned TV camera operator, and George, as a former member of the Republican Party, lashed out at President George H.W. Bush and the Republican Party, saying they were controlled by, quote, religious fanatics. That was 1991. This right here represents what the Republican Party is all about right now, he said, and how right he was. I already mentioned the assassination of Dr. Gunn, of Dr. Slepian, and Dr. Tiller. Finally, later in life, when George was asked, "Why are you doing this? Why don't you retire? You're such an obvious target," he replied, "I have to. I can't leave the women. There's no one else to help them." He felt that he gave women back their dreams. So, what can you do? First, sign the statement, distribute it, debate it, family, friends, workplace colleagues. Second, understand that fundamental change only happens when masses like this begin to rise up, swarm the streets, and demand. And third, donate money and time. Ending with a final challenge to my healthcare colleagues, which I'm sure they're out there, and which I'm almost sure almost everyone would defend the right for a woman to have an abortion. Combat the lies and disinformation. Donate money, since many of us have the privilege of means. Wear green bandanas like George Tiller would at this very rally. Be inspired by all the women around us, the men around us, and blessings to the brave souls of Pakistan. I realize there's a women's uprising there, my goodness. That's courageous. And ask yourself, as you will repeat, look at yourself in the mirror and say, if not you, who? If not now, when? So praise be the life and the spirit of Dr. George Tiller. Thank you.